Hi everyone. I've been asked the question of how do I build a relationship with my home care workers. So I want to talk about this in this particular video. There's going to be more than one way of doing this. I'm going to share with you what I did, and then as I talk, and after the video finishes playing, I want to encourage you to think through what your needs are. Because this isn't about me, it's about the relationship with you and your home care workers. So I started needing help at the end of 2009. So during the first 2 weeks, someone different was coming to my home every single day, and there was very little repetition or overlap. I said to one of the workers, "Your company is making me feel like a stripper in my own home. I'm not enjoying showering and needing help with showering by someone different so frequently. What's going on and why are you doing this to me?" And their answer was that I was supposed to be test driving various workers and then figuring out who I connected with. And then I was to let the scheduling staff know, and a more firm schedule could be arranged. That made sense to me, but no one had told me that this is what scheduling was doing. So I didn't know, and I was not liking it at all. So I worked out 4 workers that I had connected with well, and I reached out to the office and we worked out who could come, and there started being some continuity with the workers. It's important that you're comfortable with workers and the people that are coming to help you. If you're not happy with someone for a particular reason, I would first off try to discuss what happened with that particular person if you're comfortable doing so. And I've done this before, either with that person or I've gone to their supervisor and said, "This is what's happening. Could you tell me a little bit more?" So I either trust the person or know to move on. As time passed, what helped me the most was saying a few sentences of my goals, during the coming weeks, and asking some questions about the particular worker, like interests, what type of vehicle they like to drive, and if they had a family or not. It was just something to help me trust them as a person. And it's what I needed. Now, I've had some very poor and very, very concerning experiences that, it was quite hard for me, and I've had to have workers removed from coming to my home. One of them tried to convert me to a different religion. I believe in God. I'm a Christian. I'm not here to preach at you, but you can tell by how I live my life what I believe and what my values are. And I did not like this happening at all, and I had someone removed for doing this. I also had someone that showed up outside the scheduled visit, which was addressed appropriately. You're going to find that there's people that are easy to connect with depending on the task. Even if you are receiving government-funded home care workers, you still have the right to choose who is a good person to connect with you. And maybe you don't know, and I do accept this. It's perfectly reasonable to have a close friend that you trust come be in your home with you and be there while a few of the workers come through. And then after they leave, you could talk about what you liked, what you didn't like, and make a decision if that's someone you want to stick with. Sometimes asking 2 or 3 questions or talking about a specific situation that you didn't like simply resolves it, and you're fine with that worker. I do want to remind you that they are there to help you, and you don't want them to become a burden to you, meaning there are professional boundaries around what's appropriate for a home care worker to talk to you about. It's kind of the same as if I met you in person for the first time on the side of the street and we were both in our wheelchairs, or you were able to walk and I was in my wheelchair. This just happened with a new neighbor down the street. I asked her a little bit about herself. She told me where employment is and talked about some of her interests, like gardening, for example. And, you start to get to know someone, and after 6 or 8 times, you can figure out if there's substance to their character or if there's someone else that may be more appropriate. So this is the same thing as dealing with a chronic illness or dealing with chronic pain. It's something that needs to be upkept and built upon. There are home care workers that have a bad day. There's going to be times where they arrive late to the appointment with you simply because the person before them or earlier in the day was having a medical crisis and they could not leave and were running late. You need to be willing to accept that there's times when your workers are going to arrive late and it's not their fault, and you need to have the grace and the maturity to accept this. It's important that you communicate when your healthcare appointments are, so that if they can't make it at an appropriate time, either they switch 2 people around or someone else covers that visit. So where this comes down to is your ability to communicate with your workers, their supervisor, and the scheduling staff. You don't have to do this yourself if you're not comfortable. You can have a friend do this for you, but because it's healthcare, you're going to have to give consent to that person being your representative. Otherwise, they're not allowed to discuss your treatment because of patient confidentiality. Once there's a set given of workers coming to you, they'll get used to the layout of your home, and it will become a smooth and easy process. When I was going through this, I found it very, very hard because of my chronic pain, the broken sleep. I had to preciously guard my physical energy for that day because I just didn't have it to give away on home care help. If I didn't have the same set of workers coming in, I was better off doing it myself because of how much it was degrading my quality of life. So what I did was put up a cork board in my home and made a set list of what happens in the morning and then what happens in the evening. And if it was someone filling in for a specific shift because of sickness, vacation, or family emergency, there was still some continuity in how to help me without me spending tons of energy for or on the worker sent to help you. So being self-aware being honest with yourself of what's helpful to you. And then if you're feeling uncomfortable, talk to someone you trust. It's not about getting a worker in trouble. The healthcare people know that we connect with different people and not everyone's a match for you. It's kind of like dating in a roundabout way. If you'll stick with it, it can become an asset to improve your quality of life. If it's a drain on you, then get one of the supervisors to come make a home visit. It is a reasonable request, and talk about what's not working so it can be fixed. And they will do this, and I've had to do it myself. It's your life. I want to remind you that they're there to be an asset to you. And if it's not working, then talk about it and make some changes, and it will get better in time. If someone's acting inappropriately, you do need to report it. If you need help reporting it, that's fine. You can have a friend over while you have that conversation, or have your pet dog sit with you, or hold a pet cat or a stuffed animal while you're talking about what's gone on that's been hard for you. But ultimately, they're there to help you. And if you can let go of a few bad instances that periodically are going to happen, it can be a really positive and life-changing experience for you. I hope this gives some help for you. And as always, if you have a topic that you want me to speak about, even some of the private stuff that goes on, send me a message and I'll gladly talk about it, as long as it's a reasonable request. Thanks so much for this time that you've spent with me today. Bye for now.